Okay, so we hope that you are hungry today. Hi, I'm Jennifer, and this is Kate, and this is a really cool spatula from the Pioneer Woman collection. We have a really fun food video for you today. We are taking you on a liturgical food year tour.
So with school starting back up, that got us thinking about catechism classes starting back up, and then consequently all the different treats that we like to make for the different feasts and holidays.
So we're going to show you some of the favorite things that we've made down through the years, but we're also going to show you some of our flops because there have been flops and we always like to keep it real here.
And some of these we have bought, some of them we've made, some are really simple and some are really fancy.
So we hope the video will give you some fun ideas and inspire you to celebrate your Catholic year with food.
All right, so I have the computer out just to reference some of these photos. And we're going to start in the month of August because it is August. And we seem to do a lot of our liturgical cooking between the months of August and June. That's when most of it happens. And so for August, we have the Feast of the Assumption of Mary on the 15th. And for that one, we just like to do a kind of simple cookie cake that we decorate in honor of the Blessed Mother. It's always fun, it's always delicious, and nothing too complicated. And then funnily enough, we've also done some chicken pot pies decorated in the same way for this feast day. I know it's kind of random, and the one you can see on the screen is just about to go in the oven, but it shows the design really well. We just make like the little M and stuff out of the dough.
Moving into September, we have the Blessed Mother's birthday on September 8th, which is a great occasion to make edible rosaries, and Kate's going to tell you more about that in October. But I'm going to talk to you about September 29th, which is the Feast of the Archangels. And for that, we always like to make these devil's food cupcakes. They have white icing that symbolizes how good always triumphs over the dark evil. And of course, they have to have the sword of St. Michael stuck in the top. My students always love that. And that brings us right into our first flop, which was this angel food cake from last year. I think this was from last year. We always like to make an angel food cake on September 29th, the day itself, to have for dessert. And as you can see, I'm looking at the picture, this one just went crazy in the oven. It was a hot mess. But we made the best of it. We went ahead and topped it with blackberries and whipped cream because there is a church legend that when the angels were warring in heaven and St. Michael and the good angels kicked out Lucifer, Lucifer fell into a berry bush and he turned all the berries black. So it is very traditional to eat blackberries on the Feast of the Archangels.
So moving into October, we have the Feast of St. Francis right up front on the 4th. And for that one, we just like to keep it really simple and honestly just do animal crackers as a snack. You know, sometimes they're plain, chocolate, frosted, whatever we can find. It's one that we've always just really enjoyed in its simplicity. And then October is also the month of the Holy Rosary. So it's a great time to make edible rosaries. And we did this all the time growing up, and Jennifer still does it each year with her catechism class. And the building blocks for this do change every year, just kind of depending what we can find. But these are some of the kits we put together last year for her class. And then these are some of the results that we got from that. So this one's a lot of fun. It's a classic activity, and you could even use it in September as well on the 8th for the Blessed Mother's birthday. And then as a fun bonus, these are some spooky cupcakes that my brother and I made for Halloween, probably like 7 or 8 years ago now, but these were a lot of fun and very delicious.
November always starts off with a bang with the Feast of All Saints, and I always do like to have a little All Saints Day party in my catechism class. And for that, I make saint-themed guessing jars. I'm going to show you a couple of examples in a minute. The jars are filled up with treats, and then the kids get to guess how many are in them. So a few of my favorite jars down through the years. One year we had this one. St. Philip Neri, the laughing saint. So how many Snickers are in the jar? And then we had St. Lucy, that's a classic one. How many eyeballs are in the jar? I always get my eyeballs at the Dollar Tree, and they're made out of gum. And then one year I had an abundance of purple chocolate kisses. So I created my St. Lydia jar. She was a dealer in purple cloth from the book of Acts. So how many purple kisses are in the jar? For the party, I also bring in saint-themed cupcakes. So each student picks out a cupcake, and then we pray the litany of saints using their cupcake saints before we eat them. And so here are some examples of the cupcakes from this year. Another fun food-related thing to do during the month of November is to create a thankful pumpkin. All you need for that is a pumpkin and a Sharpie. You can do this at home by yourself or with your family. You can take a pumpkin and do it in class. I can take a pumpkin like this to religious ed class, and the kids can add to it all through the month of November. So it's just a really cool thing. And then finally, for our last class in November, right before Thanksgiving, I always like to bring in an extra special food treat. This year I made these inside out s'mores, which look really wow, and the kids love them, but they're super easy to make. Kate and I think, did a whole video about how to make them, but we'll link that and the recipe down below.
So moving into December, there are a lot of feasts and a lot of food, so we will just hit some of our favorite highlights. And the first feast day up is St. Nicholas Day, and we still enjoy the tradition of filling up shoes, but we also really enjoy having some of the traditional speculoos cookies on that day. And we've tried to make these ourselves, but it has not always worked. So lately we have just resorted to buying them from the store and enjoying them all the same. Then on the 7th, we have St. Ambrose. He's a really great saint, and his traditional symbol is the bee. So we usually incorporate honey or like a honey candy of some sort on his feast day. Then on December 12th, we have Our Lady of Guadalupe. We love her, and that feast day is fried ice cream for us always. We were very lucky many years ago to find a really great homemade fried ice cream recipe that we use every single year. It tastes just as good as what you get in the restaurants, and so we'll have that linked down below for you. And then lastly, we have St. Lucy on December 13th. Now it's traditional to make the Lucy buns with saffron, but we usually just cheat and make homemade cinnamon rolls. And usually a pretty good platter of those go to Jennifer's catechism class every year. They have it as a special treat on the last day before Christmas break. And this one that you see on the screen, these ones stayed home because the icing was strangely lumpy, but don't worry, they got eaten and enjoyed just the same. And we've also had plenty of years where we just keep it simple and used the canned cinnamon rolls. All good, no worries.
In January, at our house anyway, it is all about stars for the Feast of Epiphany on January 6th. So I sometimes buy star cookies, like I'll show you here. These I think were from Lidl, and that's just a really fun, simple way to celebrate Epiphany. Or sometimes if I have more time and energy, I like to make these star-shaped sugar cookies. I took a giant platter of these to class one year, and the kids just love them. But honestly, sometimes I don't have the time and energy, and so then we revert to the star cookies from Lidl. Also, some years I will make a king cake, the Feast of the Three Kings. It's the perfect time to have one, but again, not always. Although last year I did find this really simple, easy recipe for king cake. So I have a feeling I'll probably be making king cake in January a lot more often.
So going into February, we start off with the Feast of St. Bridget. And for that one, we do usually enjoy just a plate of like cheddar cheese and crackers. And then one of our favorite feast days, Our Lady of Lourdes, is on February 11th. And we've done a lot of different things for this feast day. We've had times where we've had these heart cookies, we've done these blue and white little chocolates, Those did go to catechism class, really easy to transport and write in the blue and white pretty colors for the feast day. And then one year we even went to a local crepe restaurant, and yes, these crepes were as good as they look in the photo. That one was a lot of fun. And in case you're wondering, yes, we have tried the Rice Krispie Lourdes Grotto idea before. It's very popular on the internet in the month of February. A lot of people make it, but we never really had success with it. It just kind of turned out into a weird mound of Rice Krispies. Never came out the way we wanted. So honestly, we usually just stick with other treats. And then for Valentine's Day, St. Valentine's Day, we usually do these cupcakes. The fun heart marshmallows come from Aldi, and it's very easy to throw together. But then some years we're in a rush, and so we just do something simple like these heart-shaped pretzels.
Moving into March, or the season of Lent, we have this really cool cake, which is a nice way to celebrate going to confession. Always good to go to confession during Lent. If you have a student who is making First Holy Communion, this is a fun treat to have after they go to confession for the first time. And this cake was actually from Kate's first confession, so it's an old picture, but I just love it. I think it's such a neat idea. However, these homemade pretzels are probably more appropriate, for the season of Lent. These are really fun, quick and easy to make. My students love them, as do the rest of my family, so sometimes I make them and I have to make a double batch. For St. Patrick's Day one year, I made these really strange snickerdoodles that I dyed green for some reason, and then I put in chocolate chips. I'm not sure what I was thinking with that strange combination, but they actually were really good, and my students just gobbled them all up. But these shamrock biscuits from last year, all I'm going to say about them is that we did eat them. They were edible, but they're going to go in the flop category because they were completely overdone. I think we're going to have to rethink that idea for next year. For St. Joseph's Day on March 19th, one year I made a traditional St. Joseph's Day altar in my classroom, and I tried to bring in different treats. The cupcakes that I brought in that year, we had an unseasonably warm day and the icing all melted. So that was another kind of didn't plan on having it turn out that way kind of moment, but the students did eat them. However, a couple of years ago for a cooking video, we made the St. Joseph's Day bread, which is definitely more traditional, and it was a very big success. As were these hot cross buns that we also made last year.
So moving into April and the Easter season, this one has to be one of our most memorable fails. These are supposed to be Rice Krispie treats shaped like little Easter eggs and dipped in chocolate with sprinkles, but they did not turn out as ovals at all. So they were still great. They tasted wonderful, but definitely didn't look right. Definitely not putting those on Pinterest. And then right after Easter, you run into Divine Mercy Sunday, and we've done a lot of different treats for Divine Mercy Sunday. This one right here has always been one of my favorites. These are just like little Debbie oatmeal pies with icing on top of them. We brought those to religious ed class one year, and it has always been my favorite religious ed class treat that I've ever had. And every year on Divine Mercy Sunday, I always think about these ones. I don't know why, but I just loved them that much that they're like living in the back of my mind. And then last year, we had some difficulties with these. Our icing cans did not work. We had to abandon the idea of doing the rays and just went with the hearts. It still fit the theme though, they got eaten. And then other years, we've also just kept it really simple. We just bought a frozen coconut cake in this picture and then just drew on the heart and the rays with gel icing.
So in the month of May, religious ed is done, school is out, and we're winding down our cooking year, but we always do like to honor the Blessed Mother for Mother's Day. Here are some pictures of a Marian tea party we created one year for a cooking video. This was one of our very favorite Marian tea parties that we've ever had, and Bishop Beagle definitely approved.
So then this past June, we made this fun flaming apostle Pentecost cake. It's just a cookie cake, and then the idea and the little apostle figures came from the Living the Seasons cookbook and website. So this was a lot of fun. It's a really cool idea. We'll have that linked down below. But then for Pentecost, we've also done other things like this strawberry cake and also this charcuterie board, just keeping in theme with like the red and the flame, you know.
And then finally, July comes around, and again, it's a little bit of a quieter cooking time. No classes are going on. We're just taking summer vacation, but we always do like to come up with some type of fun treat for the 4th of July to remind us how grateful we are to God for the religious freedom we enjoy in this country. So this was one of our recent creations. I think it was from last year. Okay, so there you have it. That is a look at some of the Catholic cooking that we're up to every month outside of our regular Catholic cooking video.
So let us know down in the comments what some of your favorite treats and traditions are for the different feast days.
So we hope the video is helpful. We thank you always for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.